Okay. Just lower that light a little bit, I think.
Never satisfied with the turning out of things. The fear of bleeding one more time, like an open door with the hinges ripped in two. The fear of getting over you is like an open door. So tear away this part of me that hides so deep inside of me. You can't deny just what you are, a masquerade that's gone too far.
Greetings, Kindred. I am voivodemekhet, and it is March 2nd, which means yesterday was March 1st. So that was the first. Listen. Last night was LARP night, which was basically what I was trying to get to, but I was unable to get it out properly. It is currently 4 p.m. I just got out of bed because we didn't get to sleep until after 4 a.m. Last night was good. So, yeah, we usually sleep in really, really late after LARP, because after LARP, which used to end at midnight, it now ends at 11. Nordy, what are you doing? Okay. Anyway, you see his little face in it. We moved from 8 to midnight to from 8 to midnight to 7 to 11 because we're old. And we end up going out afterwards. Last night we went to Denny's in Cape Coral, which was really nice. But I am here to talk about the recap of last night's Vampire the Masquerade LARP, Fort Myers by Night, City of Palms. It was a big, confusing mess of people wandering around doing things, and I personally don't think it could have gone better. Last night, in response to the month before, where we had a player execution, publicly, publicly his head was on display, and the prince was marked as some kind of brutalistic monster by some, and reasonable reaction by others. I decided that after having to do that in a city that is mostly independent, and the Camarilla coming in and claiming praxis and allowing people who are not Camarilla to take primogenship in the city for their clans, because I'm looking for representation of the clans. I'm looking for anybody who's going to be able to come up and talk to me in response to their clan's needs. And I don't give a... I don't care if they're actually Camarilla or not for that purpose, because I just don't need all the people from all of the clans running up and talking to me. I need their primogens to act as a filter so that I talk to one person. And of course, with petty little monsters such as Kindred, things get lost in the sense of what's needed to be heard, which causes drama and stuff like that. So everything like that is working great. The plan last night, which also I want to say first, thank you to the players who allowed us to use their residence. We unfortunately were not able to play where we typically play, which is Lost World Books in Fort Myers. They are closed until further notice, unfortunately. If it is a health issue, which I think it might be, I hope that gets cleared up really quickly, and I hope everything works out for the best. But last night we were very nice. It was very nice to be welcomed into someone's home to play. It was we had multiple rooms to play in. We had outside. It was a very fun setting, and I get really nervous about playing at people's personal homes. We are looking towards other places just in case Lost Worlds is lost to us. But that's neither here nor there. I will keep the players and the public actually informed on the situation on player on game venue. That's what I was looking for. Um, so last night we allowed the clans to split up. We had several new players who came in, new characters were there, which was great. We had a couple of people who traded out for new characters because after so many months they have decided that their characters either had finished their stories or were not a good fit for what we were doing, and traded out for different characters, which I gotta say, as much as I love a couple of characters that we did end up losing um, due to just not being the proper fit, the new characters that came in, oh my god, the players have just on point read the room and know exactly what they're doing. Um, so at the very beginning of the night, we made the announcements for pregame and discussed all of the ins and outs and dramas and everything that goes towards building this game for everyone. And then the plan was, I'm not sure how well this worked out because I did not get involved in it at all. There's no reason for me to. The clans were said to have split up, met each other, spoke, decided what things they needed to bring to the prince and stuff, and they got like 15, 20 minutes before that, before the herald started calling everybody up by primogen name and telling them to bring their clan up to the prince. We did have one new NPC that was brought into the game, which is depicted by Lore, the assistant ST. Levi Krause, who is a member of the Hecata, who was brought in by a character that we had named Proudmore to help handle the Wraith situation that was at last month's Elysium. So Levi came in, we talked, made a little bit of a deal on who was going, or how they were going to help. I just rolled out of bed, I apologize. How they were going to help with the situation, and they moved on their way, leaving the Elysium so that Lore could go back to playing Giselle, our wonderful seneschal. But the herald went through, like I said, and called each individual in a very royal way. He was just like, would such and such we need such and such from clan blah to gather their clan and approach the prince, blah 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 blah. It was a lot of fun. And I gotta say that Daviga, who a lot of you know as Sam or Alice or whatever character that they play in Thicker Than Water, who also plays Mr. Salt, the herald for Fort Myers, did an on-point job. We were doing a lot of collecting information, like how many ghouls are in the city, so trying to get a ghoul registry going on, out of the fear that if any kindred is beckoned in the city, we don't want to find out that a whole bunch of ghouls are left behind that are then a danger to themselves and kindred society. We discussed a lot of different things that were going on. We have players who are doing various projects. I know I don't have much to tell you guys because if you're not there, you don't really know. And there's no way to really get all of the intricate information. We spent the majority of the nights with me standing in one place, meeting with each individual clan of the city over and over again until all needs were met. Discussing the various aspects of the city in politics, concerns that they have. There are rumors of black vans driving all over the county that could possibly be related to hunters. New kindred being introduced to the prince, which is constant. There's a lot going on between the wraiths and the hunter suspicion and things like that. it was a lot. Everybody had concerns, everybody had requests of things that they would like to do and wanted the prince's support. We are in the process of building a curriculum right now for newly embraced kindred who have been abandoned by their sires. We have a high kindred orphan population in Fort Myers. The idea behind that, and I think I might have said this in, I don't know, probably the last 3 videos, but to deal with this. But the whole concept between the kindred curriculum is very similar to Prince Kevin Jackson's finishing schools in Chicago. But the idea here is that the kindred will literally just learn the basics of kindred society, how their disciplines work, what the different sects are, how to feed and not get caught licking the wounds and things like that. And then there's going to be some other extracurricular activities, which would be like kindred history and things like that. But the idea is that when they graduate from this curriculum, they would earn their acceptance and or acknowledgement if they go with the Camarilla. Which I was very shocked to see how many people switched from independent to Camarilla last night, which probably has a lot to do with the fact that Knox's head was presented to everybody the month before. um, yeah, I don't really have much else to say because we spent so much time going over what all of the independent needs were for the individual vampires. Now, at the very end, I had told our dear Harold, Mr. Salt, that I would be specifically giving out all of my possible support for the night as the night went by, depending on what I heard from the kindred as I met with all of them. Now, for those of you who do not play LARP, if you're listening to this, when you're dealing with status, there is a support and opposition mechanic. And basically the way that it works is you have the ability to give out as much support and opposition as you have towards other people gaining status as you have status. So my prince currently, thanks to the support of the kindred in Fort Myers, has 4. My prince, thanks to the kindred of Fort Myers, has 3 status. So I can give out 3 support and 3 opposition. I didn't give out any opposition last night. There was really no reason for me to until the end of the night, which by then we only do the status game during Elysiums, like during actual live gameplay. We do have interactions throughout the month on our Discord, soft roleplay and stuff like that, but we don't include the status game really unless it's an in-person game. So throughout the night I gave out my 3, and I find out after everything is done, when we're doing last minute announcements, that the status game has spread and everybody is giving support and opposition for things. One of our players, he goes by Matt Wings online. He's been a player for me for, I want to say, 2 decades. I think I've known him for about 20 years. And has played in a lot of my games. He has helped out a lot also when it comes to like just keeping the community together and providing us with like player handbooks and helping out the new players. He brought in a new character last night because he was Knox's player, which was the Bruja who was executed last game session for Sabbat ideology and writing a manifesto against the Prince of the City. Which had to be nipped in the bud right away. I am very lucky also to have somebody like Matt Wings in my games who comes in with opposing force as a character like that, but understands that he might get caught. And he's also not the kind of person who's just going to be like, I'm doing this in the background and no one gets to know, when the things that he does causes social waves in the game. Anyway, so he brought in a new character last night, which is a member of Clan La Sombra, who is a staunch loyalist to the Camarilla. He is embraced out of a line of La Sombra anti-tribu. So when the Sabbat splintered off, he is part of the bloodline that stayed with the Camarilla. And so he has his own things going on, but during the final announcements last night, Mr. Salt, our dear senator, our dear Herald, read through all of the status changes at the end of game, which he is, prone to do. That is his job, as it is. He went through and he told everybody what everybody's support was, if there was a new elevation in status, which I think the only person who actually had an elevation in status at all last night was Mr. Salt. Others had supported the Harpy to the point where he had gone up, and he got myself as the Prince of Fort Myers, Giselle as the Seneschal of Fort Myers, and Blake the Mistress of Duckies, because that's a thing. We all sat down and decided that his status was going to be, I think we said diligent. Or dedicated. It's a D, and it means he's in his job. I'm pretty sure it was diligent, but that's in his logbooks. But he announced his, and then after we got done announcing the rise of status and the support that went out, he announced to everybody that he was going to announce the oppositions, which my jaw hit the floor. I had no idea that people were actually being petty towards each other. Which is dumb, because that's the entire name of the game. Let's get dressed up and be petty. So, like, our dear Toreador Primogen got 2 opposition. And one of our Bruja got opposition. It's pretty obvious who gave that Bruja one of the opposition, also, because you can publicly announce your support or opposition, or you can tell the Herald and have it done anonymously, and he will announce it, which most people tend to do in this game. Which is it actually gives him a lot to do, and it's very funny. But I can say that Tony the Bruja, he's not a Primogen, but he's like a really major player as the way that the Bruja are building up. He interrupted the Seneschal in conversation 2 times, just walking up and starts talking to the person that she's talking to. So we're pretty damn sure that one of those opposition came from Giselle. But he starts naming off oppositions, and before he starts talking about the opposition, so he tells everybody, because there's a lot of applause for the support. He said no laughter or applause when it comes to naming the oppositions, and a handful of people, when he named off opposition, started to clap and hoot and holler, and it got bad. And this is where it comes into Matt Wing's new character, the La Sombra, who comes up and basically just like challenges those who were cheering, and it was just amazing. There was a lot of drama, and like I had to stop and think about, like, do I calm down the social upheaval about applauding for the opposition and get possible Camarilla loyalists against me? It was the most politically charged event I think I have ever had to experience playing a prince. And I've played multiple princes through games that I've run. This was dramatic. This really made me stop and think, and feeling the variety of occurrences while everything was going on was just like stopped me in my tracks. I wasn't really sure exactly what to do. Prince Myers was dumbfounded. We did end up identifying one of the persons who clapped and hollered when the opposition was going on, because he was effectively intimidated in character to confessing, where he then opposition started rolling out towards him. I think he got like a total of 3 opposition. So to get out of that and into proper support, he's going to have to get 3 support before it's even considered even, which is big. And he's a new player. He's only been at, I think, like 2 sessions so far, and he's young. He's actually um, he was brought in by my larva because they're like, it's his best friend. But I ended up taking him to the side in character and really explaining how dangerous social interactions with kindred can be. And he experienced something that he's never had to experience before, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel glad that I got to explain this to him. He got to experience what I like to call recreational, oh god, I had it. What is it? Words. Why? I just woke up. I'm not even dressed yet. I'm in my bathrobe. Oh, yeah, sorry. He experienced what I like to call recreational anxiety. This is what happens when you're getting on a roller coaster or when you're watching horror movies. You're doing it for fun. It is fun. But it causes an amount of stress. And he didn't know exactly how to experience it. And he was like literally worried that he had angered people. But he did have conversations with the people who were opposing him afterwards, and they all talked about how great he did and how much fun it was having him there. We went to, like I said, we went to Denny's afterwards, and he ended up like moving from table to table because we take up a lot of room. That luckily there's like a little side room, and we just get the whole damn thing pretty much. But he ended up moving tables a couple of times, just picking up his food and stuff, because he got to talk to players that have more experience than him and learning, and he was being welcomed basically into the group because he's now actively participating in the social game that is Vampire the Masquerade, and LARP is just so much fun. Like, it's so different from tabletop because in tabletop you've got like 4 to 6 people around a table, and it's a coterie usually, and it handles that issue. However, in a LARP, where even though the disciplines are different and everything like that, you've got the same tension on a larger scale. Now, our LARP is primarily a parlor LARP. We usually just handle stories that are happening inside that building that night. But like, I've played in LARPs where it's been expansive and sprawling and going all over the place, and some players don't even know who each other are and stuff like that. And it's, I don't know. I'm so happy to be doing this. I just realized the nod box is gone because we were actually utilizing that in play in the tabletop the other night. Don't worry, I still have it. I just realized like there's something missing. Anyway, that's really all I have to say. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on last night's game session, which I believe was game session number 8 for City of Palms, Fort Myers by Night. Kind of want to check now because I'm so curious on that. Sorry to make you... so far, I have nothing here that I'm actually editing out, so you're pretty much just coming along the ride with me for all of this. I think it is... okay. And Fort Myers by Night, 13 episodes, 13 sessions. Yes, this was, in fact, session number 8. Anyway, I'm wondering how many LARPs out there are people in this community participating in. I'd like to hear. Put that down in the comments if you have the moment. Like, subscribe, all that junk. But I'm more interested in comments. I want to see who out there is playing in a LARP and how that LARP is going. Write us a paragraph if you want to. I'd love to hear about the other LARPs and hear what kind of storylines are being run in that. That just sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, I am voivodemekhet. I'm the head ST for the Fort Myers by Night City of Palms Mind's Eye Theater 5th Edition Vampire the Masquerade LARP. That was a mouthful. And I will continue doing these updates on my LARP as they come through monthly. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Good